Welcome back to my Beading Heart, and we are on location at my store/studio. This is where I make most of the jewelry. I wanted to go over some tools and some different things that you might need if you want to own your own jewelry business or even just for a hobby. One of the first things that's really important is my tools. I keep them in a tool holder like this, relatively inexpensive, made out of wood. And some of the tools, I'd say the top three that are most important would be, these are my flat nose pliers. They come in different sizes. I have a larger one here, but I like these because of the flat inside, and they'll hold the wire steady and not make any marks on it and bend it at a 90-degree angle. So this is a very important tool. I get most of my tools online at Fire Mountain Gems or Art Beads. You can also get them at your local craft store. So there's different sizes of flat nose pliers. The next one is the needle nose or round nose. These are really important to get a nice round wire to do earrings and bracelets and do wire wrapping. It's very important. And then the cutters, of course, are very important. This one has a nice ergonomic handle. I just got this one the other day. And you can cut most wire with these, but there are some that you can't. If you are using steel wire for memory bracelets, those are the kind that kind of look like a slinky. Those are made of steel, and that will dent this. So you don't want to use that. You want to get a steel wire clipper. This one's pretty heavy duty. I do use it for other wires. You can use it for softer wires, but this one will cut steel, so this one's awesome. And then this one is another interesting one. If you can see, it's at an angle, and what it does is it opens jump rings. Jump rings are kind of like a mini keychain. So what it would do, this little flap right there, it's going to open up that jump ring part so that you can slide on charms or slide it onto string. You just got to get right in there, and it'll open it up, and then you slide it on. So this one's kind of an important one, but when you're starting out, you don't really need this. So some of the other things that I find important is storage. You can also use this to store beads on. I have lots of tubes and things on my workstation, and they all fit in here too. So you can store your tubes of beads. Beads will come in packets like that, or tubes, all sorts of ways. And what I like to do when I get them in is go over them, check them for quality, and then store them in some airtight containers. These containers I have a lot of. I'm not sure if you can see back here, but I have plenty of them. I get them at Walmart, I get them at the craft store, Target. They have them all the time, and they're relatively inexpensive. And storing is more of like a personal preference. So if you want to do rainbow order or by metal or by material, you know, whatever makes you more organized, whatever's easier for you to reach for. This one I put in rainbow order. These are all crystals, and they have some nice dividers here. Sometimes you can move the dividers. They come out, but you don't want to do that and get them all mixed up. And they lock tight so you can travel with them. This one's a stacking one. This one's great. I think I got this at Walmart. And they come in different levels. And you can do a project and keep your project intact in here and store it away for next time. So I like storage a lot. Storing tools. This is great. This is a spinner. A lot of people use these pens, pencils. There are some in there. But I put some of my important tools in here as well. Like this is one of my favorite scissors. This is a metal shear. This cuts metal. I use silver sheet a lot, and it cuts the metal no problem. I use it to back my pendants when I do metal smithing. You can cut wire with this. You can also cut paper. It's not that great with fabric, so I would save this and maybe use a fabric scissor or craft scissor for fabric. So this spinner is great because when I need something, I just spin it around. Like some of the other important things would be glasses. When I need to see up front, I wear contact lenses, but I also need these to magnify. So these are great. And then another very important one, safety goggles. When you're cutting wire and it's flying, you want to wear this just to be careful. I also wear this for soldering as well. And then some of the other most important tools last round would be, I think, my hammers. I use a lot of different size hammers. This is a real little one, but it does nice little dents to kind of mark up a silver surface to make a hammered ring. These are relatively expensive. I got these, I think, from Rio Grande. And then storage for beads that I'm working on. This material back here is called a bead mat. And the cool thing is the beads don't really roll around. They stay put. They're not rolling around and off the table. I'll use this material for different projects. You can layer it on top of itself. But I always have them behind. This is a ceramic, relatively inexpensive dish. And these are all like projects and beads for things that I'm working on right now. I don't want to put them away and forget about them. This is a project for right now. So I have the bead mat underneath it, and then I have just a plastic tray. I think I got that at IKEA. And then this thing is one of my favorites. I got this on Amazon. It's called a bead reamer tool. I work with pearls a lot, and I work with handmade gemstone beads. And sometimes the holes are not drilled all the way through. So what you do is you put the batteries in, you get this, you put it almost into the hole, just around the edge, and it makes the hole a little bit bigger for whatever size string that you're putting through. So the pearls are getting stuck, you get one of these. You don't want to overwork it, it'll stop if it's stuck. So you pull it out and just use it little bits. But this is fun. It's inexpensive, battery operated. So it's called a bead reamer. Another thing that's important for a jewelry business, which is displays. I get my displays online too, but they do have some good ones at Michael's. This one I got at Michael's. This is a black velvet display. I love black velvet displays. I think they look classy and elegant. This one, I think it's made of wood with velvet on top. And one way to care for your velvet, which I haven't done and I need to do, is take some packing tape and I wrap the packing tape with the sticky side out on my hand and I just pat it and it gets rid of all the dust and all the hairs that collect on velvet normally. Another thing I have, and I use a lot at craft shows and in my store, this is a bracelet display. It's just called a T-bar display because of the shape. This one was white. I painted it on it with acrylic paint to customize it for my store. So these are some bracelets my friend made for me, and you know, they just sit right on there out for display for customers. Got some relatively inexpensive, this is burlap linen. These are earring displays. So the earrings go right into those little slots. And then I put them out. These are for like special pairs of earrings, but you can have like a whole row of them at a show. And then don't forget to put the price on the back for your customers. That way when they ask how much it is, you can just turn around and show them. And then bead storage trays. These are usually plastic or wood. This one's wood. And then they have inserts. These are pad inserts. You can get black velvet, gray velvet, many different colors. They come with leather or nylon coated leather, not real leather. And this one's a burlap coated, which is kind of fun. And you can drape your necklaces on top of this. And you can also use this for your workstation because the beads aren't going to fall out through the outside. So I think I've gone over most of the things in my studio. Two more quick things. You need some proper lighting. This is an OT light, and it also has a magnifier on top so I can look down and see what I'm doing. This is great, and it mimics natural sunlight. So you're seeing what you're working on in true color. And then an ergonomic chair where your feet are flat in the ground for your back support. Just remember that while you're working over like this, just to stretch and maybe get up every 10 minutes. So, you know, you get some nice back support and you don't get back problems working with beads for too long. So now we're going to take a little tour of the store and I'm going to show you the different types of jewelry that I make. So in the last 5 years, I've been getting into metalsmithing, and these are some of the pieces that I've made. I've made some necklaces. These, I've called them tag necklaces, and where I put soldered gemstones onto a metal backing, a silver backing, and that's what I use the metal shears for. I've also done some rings of all different gemstones and different sizes. And a new thing is adjustable rings. It's more customizable without remaking the whole ring. It's an open ring that has different stones at the end, so you can open it and close it specifically for someone's size. Those are really in fashion right now, and I love making those. Over here I have the crystal clay necklaces. These are made with a 2-part epoxy clay, which I mix together, and then I put them on a bezel backing, and then I add elements to it. So some of these have, you know, nature in them, animals, and then I put Swarovski crystals around them. So there's different types of those. And then I also do resin casting. So I have some molds, and I do 2-part resin. And then I suspend different things like fresh flowers and pearls and gemstones inside them. So that's what these are right here. They're a lot of fun to make. And then these were a ton of fun to make. Those were shoes that I did for a showing at the Water Street Mill. And I added feathers, crystals, kind of like over-the-top personality shoes that you would, I don't know if I would wear them, but I just thought they were so much fun to make. These are also crystal clay, and what I've done with these earrings right here is that I've put a tiny bit of that epoxy clay on the back of Swarovski crystals and then adhered them to a backing. These are vintage stamps. The stamps themselves are vintage, but the metal is new. So it's an old vintage stamp stamped onto new brass or copper. And then when I get them, I adhere the crystals to them to customize them, because I love sparkle and I love the shape and vintage look of these. So it's a lot of fun to make these, and they're just, I don't know, really unique. Down here is called Margaret's Corner. I call it this because my grandmother's name is Margaret. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have started making jewelry. She always let me play inside her jewelry box, and then as I got older, I took some things apart and put them together, and that's how I learned how to fix vintage jewelry. So I've compiled a lot of vintage jewelry in here from her, from other people who have just given me jewelry over the years and said, you can keep it, do something fun with it, which I do. And a lot of clip-on earrings here for people, because not everyone has pierced ears. So I have drawers full of stuff, and believe me, there is a lot more where this came from at home. So I have a huge collection at home for myself and my family. Over here I have some of my hand-beaded earrings. I have crystals, all sorts of gemstones. I use some really fun chain, sterling silver chain. I have brass chevron chain here. I have some chain that has little tiny beads already on it, and then you add the gemstone at the bottom. They're a lot of fun. And over here, this is, I love this project. What I did was I got custom-made printed cards, and with this company called moo.com, you can get 50 different photos on the front of your cards. On the back is the same information. So what I did was I picked my most favorite photos that I've taken over the years. A lot of them are in Holliston. For example, this one right here is a picture of the rail trail. And what I did was I matched gemstones to each of the photos and made a necklace on silk. I like to put them on silk because they're more comfortable. So these are gemstone silk necklaces that match the photographs. And also I printed out some of my artwork too, because I do paintings as well. I hope you enjoy the tour of Janine's jewelry design, and I'll see you next time on My Beading Heart.